I was still reading emails when she placed the folder on my desk. "Sign it," she said. I looked up at her. "What is this?" "You know what it is," she replied, voice flat. "Divorce papers." I let out a slow breath. "You're serious?" She crossed her arms. "I wouldn't waste time joking about this." I flipped the folder open. My name was already typed. Dates, clauses, cold, clean lines. "You prepared this," I said. "I had to," she answered. "I don't make emotional decisions anymore." I laughed softly. "That's new." She didn't smile. "I've changed." "I noticed," I said. "You don't even look at me the same way." She shrugged. "Because you're the same person I married. And I'm not." I closed the folder. "We built this life together." "No," she corrected. "I built it. You just watched." "That's not fair," I said. "I quit my job for you." "I didn't ask you to," she replied. "That was your choice." "I supported you," I said. "I stayed up with you. I helped you prepare pitches." She waved her hand. "That was years ago. That doesn't matter now." I stood slowly. "So our past means nothing?" "It means I've outgrown it," she said. "And you?" The word hit harder than I expected. "Outgrown me?" "Yes," she said. "I need someone on my level." "And I'm below you now," I said. She didn't deny it. "You have no ambition. I gave mine up for you." "And that's the problem," she replied. "I don't want a man who sacrifices himself." I swallowed. "You loved me." "I did," she said. "But love doesn't pay the price of staying small." I stepped closer. "When did I become small to you?" "When you stopped being useful," she said calmly. I stared at her. "Useful?" "You don't belong in my world anymore," she continued. "My company is growing. My circle is changing. So I don't fit," I said. "You don't," she replied. "And I'm tired of pretending." I clenched my fist. "Is there someone else?" She hesitated for half a second. "That's not relevant." "That's an answer," I said. She sighed. "I won't apologize for choosing what's best for me." "What about us?" I asked. "There is no us," she said. "Not anymore." I picked up the pen, then put it down. "You want me gone just like that?" "Yes," she said. "Clean. Quiet. You don't even want to talk?" I asked. "I'm talking now," she replied. "This is the conversation." I shook my head. "We promised?" "Don't quote promises," she interrupted. "You couldn't keep up." I laughed again, this time bitter. "So I'm a failure?" "To me," she said. "Yes." I looked at the papers. "You already signed." "I did," she said. "I don't hesitate." I felt something crack inside my chest. "Do you feel anything?" She met my eyes. "Relief." I nodded slowly. "Then you don't need my signature today." She frowned. "Don't make this difficult." "I'm not," I said. "I just won't beg." She tilted her head. "Pride now." "No," I said. "Self-respect." She scoffed. "You'll regret this." "Maybe," I said. "But not as much as signing while you look at me like this." She picked up her bag. "I want freedom," she said. "From being married to a burden." The words stayed in the room after she walked out. I sat back down, staring at the unsigned papers, realizing my life had just been erased without a fight. The apartment felt quieter than it ever had. "You remember when this place had no furniture?" I said to no one. I sat on the floor, back against the couch, the divorce papers still on the table. "You said we didn't need much. You said love was enough." I could still hear her voice in my head. "Just give me a little time," she used to say. "I promise I'll take care of you one day." I laughed softly. "You did take care of me. You decided when I stopped being useful." I picked up my old phone and scrolled through messages I never deleted. "Instant noodles again?" she had asked once. "I don't mind," I replied back then. "As long as you eat." "You should apply for that promotion," she had said. "I can't," I told her. "You need me here tonight." She smiled that night and said, "You're the only one I trust." I closed my eyes. I trusted you too. I remembered the fight with my family. "Why are you leaving?" my mother asked. "I love her," I said. "She needs me." My father warned me, "Don't disappear into someone else's dream." "I won't," I promised. I whispered now, I lied. She had come home late one night, eyes glowing with excitement. "They approved my funding," she said. I hugged her and said, "I'm proud of you." She replied, "I couldn't have done it without you." I repeated the words aloud. "You couldn't have done it without me." I stood up and walked into the kitchen. The cheap table was still there. You said we'd replace this, I muttered. I remembered sitting across from her, remember her saying, once the company grows, everything will change. I asked her back then, will we change? She smiled. Only for the better. I pressed my fingers against the counter. You were right. We changed. I thought about the job offer I turned down. You're really quitting? My boss asked. Yes, I said. My wife needs support. He shook his head. Careful. You don't get years back. I laughed at the memory. Turns out you were right. Her voice echoed in my mind again. I need focus, she told me once. Don't distract me. I won't, I replied. I'll handle everything else. And I did. Bills, calls, family excuses. She's busy, I told everyone. She's building something. I sat back down and stared at the papers. You outgrew me, I said quietly. I remembered another night, her face tired but determined. Promise me you won't leave, she said. I won't, I answered without hesitation. She smiled and said, good. I need stability. The word hit me differently now. Stability, I repeated. Not love. I picked up the papers and flipped through them. So clean, I said. So final. I thought about every dream I postponed. I'll do it later, I told myself. After she succeeds. Later never came. I looked around the apartment. This was never ours, was it? Was always hers. I sat in silence, then spoke again. Did I give too much? No one answered. I folded the papers carefully. Love shouldn't feel like surrender. I placed them back on the table and whispered, maybe the problem wasn't losing her. I looked at my reflection in the dark window. Maybe the problem was losing myself. For the first time since she left, I didn't feel only pain. I felt doubt. And that scared me more. I stood outside her office longer than I should have. Go in, I told myself. You still have the right. When I pushed the door open, he was already there. You must be him, he said, standing up slowly. I frowned. I'm her husband. He smiled like that word meant nothing. I know. I glanced at my wife. Why is he here? She didn't look at me. He's my assistant. We're discussing work. I looked back at him. You can leave. He tilted his head. She didn't ask me to. Silence filled the room. I'll wait outside, he said casually, then leaned closer and added, take your time. The door closed behind him. I turned to her. What was that? She sighed. You're imagining things again. I'm not, I said. He looked at me like I didn't belong here. She crossed her arms. Maybe because you don't. The words hit harder than I expected. I'm your husband, I said quietly. You're my past, she replied. Don't confuse the two. I swallowed. Is there something between you and him? Her eyes hardened. Are you accusing me? I'm asking, I said. Because it feels like I've already been replaced. She laughed softly. By who? Him. Yes, I said. By him. She leaned back in her chair. You're insecure. I'm hurt, I replied. There's a difference. She stood up. I don't have time for this. I stepped closer. Answer me. There's nothing going on, she said flatly. But even if there was, would it matter? I stared at her. What does that mean? It means, she said slowly, we're already done. The door opened slightly. Everything okay? The assistant asked. She smiled at him. Yes. We're finished. He looked at me. Good. I clenched my fist. Watch your tone. He shrugged. I just respect efficiency. I turned back to her. You let him talk to me like that? She didn't respond. I whispered, you used to protect me. She replied, I protect what matters. I nodded slowly. I see. I walked out without another word. In the hallway he followed me. Hard day? He asked. I stopped. Enjoy it while you can. He chuckled. I already am. I stepped closer. You're crossing a line. He leaned in. You trained her to want more. I'm just delivering. My chest tightened. You're nothing without her. He smiled wider. And you're nothing with her. I turned away before I broke. Outside I called my old friend. Don't go back in there, he said immediately. I think she's choosing him, I replied. He sighed. She already has. I whispered, what do I do? You survive, he said. And stop begging for a seat that's no longer yours. I hung up and looked back at the building. I saw them through the glass, standing close, talking softly. I told myself it was work. But my hands were shaking. I walked away anyway. Not because I was strong. Because I was empty. The phone rang at 2:13 a.m. I stared at it like it might explode. Who calls at this hour? I muttered. I almost ignored it. Then it rang again. I answered. Hello? Is this you? The man asked carefully. Yes, I said. Who is this? Pause. Then, young master. My breath caught. Don't call me that. I apologize, he said. Old habits. My hand tightened around the phone. You have the wrong number. I don't, he replied calmly. I've been asked to find you for years. By who? I asked. By your father. I laughed bitterly. He remembers I exist now? He never forgot, the man said. You walked away. I chose love, I snapped. That was my decision. Yes, he said. And he respected it. Respect. I said. He cut me off. You cut yourself off, he corrected. He left the door open. I sat on the edge of the bed. Why are you calling now? Because your wife filed for divorce, he said. My chest tightened. How do you know that? We monitor certain things, he replied gently. I'm not part of that world anymore, I said. You never stopped being part of the family, he said. I closed my eyes. I don't want money. This isn't about money, he said. Then what is it about? I asked. About dignity, he answered. And choices. I swallowed. I made mine. Yes, he said. And you paid for it. Silence stretched between us. Why now? I repeated. Because you're alone, he said. And because you were hurt. I laughed softly. That's an understatement. You gave up everything for her, he said. I stiffened. How do you know that? Because we watched you struggle, he replied. And said nothing. Anger flared. So this is pity? No, he said. This is an offer. I'm not coming back, I said quickly. That's not what I'm asking, he replied. Then what do you want? I asked. To remind you who you are, he said. I rubbed my face. I don't even know anymore. That's why I called, he said. Another voice joined the line. Put him on speaker, the new voice said. I froze. Father? Yes, he said. It's me. I didn't know what to say. You sound thin, he added. I'm fine, I lied. You always lied badly, he said. I clenched my jaw. Why are you doing this now? Because you're hurting, he replied. And because pride kept us silent too long. I exhaled slowly. I didn't want your power. I know, he said. You wanted love. And I lost it, I said. That happens, he replied. It doesn't make you weak. It feels like it does, I admitted. You walked away from billions, he said. That wasn't weakness. Then why do I feel so small? I asked. Because you forgot your spine, he said. The representative spoke again. We're not asking you to return tomorrow. Good, I said. I'm not ready. We're asking you to listen, he continued. I stared at the dark window. And if I say no? Then we hang up, my father said. And nothing changes. I hesitated. And if I listen? Then you remember you have options, he replied. I swallowed. I don't want revenge. Neither do I, my father said. I want my son standing straight. The room felt heavy. Just listen, the representative said softly. I closed my eyes. Fine. I'll listen, I said. I walked into the building through a side entrance. No cameras. No greetings. Just silence. The legal advisor looked up first. You're late. I'm on time, I said. You're early. He nodded. The board is assembled. Good, I replied. Let's begin. The room went quiet when I took the seat at the head of the table. One man cleared his throat. We were told the controlling representative would remain anonymous. I am anonymous, I said. Names aren't required for decisions. Another voice spoke. We need clarity on today's agenda. I folded my hands. Emergency funding. A woman frowned. You mean the bridge capital? Yes, I said. It ends today. Murmurs spread. That capital stabilizes multiple subsidiaries, someone said. I'm aware, I replied. One board member leaned forward. This will directly affect her company. I met his eyes. State facts, not concerns. The legal advisor tapped his tablet. The contracts allow withdrawal with 30 days notice. I want 7, I said. That's aggressive, he said carefully. It's compliant, I replied. Silence returned. A man spoke slowly. Are we punishing a CEO? I shook my head. We're removing insulation. Another board member asked, is this personal? I smiled faintly. It's procedural. The legal advisor hesitated. May I ask your motivation? No, I said. He nodded. Understood. I stood. Let's review exposure. Charts appeared. Numbers moved. Voices steadied. This will trigger investor panic, a woman warned. Investors panic when truth appears, I said. One man whispered, she won't survive this quarter. I corrected him. Survival isn't my concern. The legal advisor asked, do we notify her directly? No, I replied. Let reports speak. Someone laughed nervously. Cold? I looked around. Cold is predictable. Anger is sloppy. The room stayed silent. I continued. Next item. Media credit lines. A board member blinked. You want those frozen too? I want them neutral, I said. No favors. That removes protection, he said. Yes, I replied. The legal advisor typed quickly. Signed approval is required. I took the pen. My hand didn't shake. I signed once. Then again. Each signature felt lighter. A man asked, do you want a statement prepared? No, I said. Silence holds weight. The woman from earlier swallowed. She'll call. I nodded. I won't answer. Another board member asked, and if she collapses publicly? That's the market, I said. Not me. The legal advisor looked at me carefully. You're very calm. I learned that calm scares people, I replied. I gathered my coat. That's all, I said. Continue as planned. As I walked out, someone whispered, who is he? The legal advisor answered, someone who stopped caring about being liked. The elevator doors closed. I exhaled slowly. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel revenge. I felt balance. For years, I had stood behind her, absorbing pressure, softening consequences, fixing mistakes quietly. Today I stepped aside. I didn't push. I didn't strike. I simply removed my hands. And gravity did the rest. The phone rang. Late evening. I stared at it. Her name flashed. I didn't move immediately. Hello. I finally said. Is this you? Her voice trembled, barely recognizable. It's me, I said softly. I don't understand. The investors, the media, the company, her words stumbled over themselves. Calm down, I said. I can't, she cried. Everything is falling apart. Did you do this? I haven't moved a finger directly, I said. There was a pause. Then why is this happening? You let it crumble, I replied. You ran it without thought. I tried, she whispered. Try isn't enough, I said. The line went silent. I could hear her breathing. Short, panicked. Why won't you help me? She asked finally. I stopped helping, I said. Long before this call. You can't do this, she shouted. I built everything. I watched, I said calmly. And I waited. She hung up. The line clicked dead. My chest didn't swell with triumph. It didn't burn with anger. It simply existed. Clarity. Minutes later, my phone rang again. I didn't pick up. The assistant's face appeared outside my apartment the next day. He looked around, nervous. I suppose this isn't the right time, he muttered, backing away. It's never the right time to be honest, I said. He swallowed. I have responsibilities. Yes, I said. Run. That's your only wise choice now. And he disappeared. Just like that. I turned on the news. Headlines screamed across the screen. CEO faces investor revolt. Company crumbles amid internal chaos. Emergency funding withdrawn. A news anchor read aloud, quoting frantic board members. I listened quietly. Her leadership is failing, one investor said. Accounts are frozen, another voice added. They say the assistant resigned suddenly, the anchor continued. I leaned back. Not triumph. Not satisfaction. Just observation. The phone rang again. I ignored it. Later a lawyer called. Several lawsuits have been filed, she said. Shareholders are demanding audits. The company is exposed. Understood, I said. Proceed as you must. You're not involved? She asked cautiously. No, I said. I'm watching. The legal advisor paused. You're very calm. I've learned to be, I said. Calm exposes more than rage ever could. Evening came and I walked through the city streets. I saw the board members rushing, trying to salvage accounts. Panic painted their expressions. I overheard fragments of conversations. She ignored warnings, one said. She relied too heavily on her assistant, another cried. And in every word, I heard the echo of her decisions, the consequences she refused to see. I didn't intervene. I didn't speak. I let the momentum of her choices carry her down. A message arrived on my phone, "You're cruel." I stared at it. Then I typed, "I'm merely silent." No reply came. Silence once again became the loudest voice. At home I sat quietly. The city hummed beneath my window. I remembered our past, the whispered promises, the sacrifices, the nights we dreamed together. Those memories stung, yes, but they didn't compel me anymore. I wasn't pleading. I wasn't angry. I was detached, observing consequences as they naturally unfolded. Later that night, her number appeared again. I stared. My thumb hovered over the screen. "I won't answer," I whispered to myself. I didn't. Instead, I opened my laptop. The news feed updated constantly. More investors pulled out. Lawsuits piled up. Internal memos leaked. The assistant's resignation became public. The empire she built trembled not because I attacked it, but because she neglected the foundation. A deep clarity settled in me. I had no desire to celebrate. No urge to gloat. Karma moved faster than my anger ever could, and I realized it didn't require my interference. I poured a glass of water and sat in the quiet apartment, listening to the distant city lights flicker. The collapse was complete in progress, yet calm in its inevitability. I exhaled slowly. Not relief. Not hatred. Just understanding. Everything she built was unraveling. I hadn't touched a thing. I had stepped back and the natural order, her choices, her neglect, her misjudgments, did the work. I poured another glass of water. I didn't answer my phone. I didn't move to intervene. For the first time I felt untouched by the chaos surrounding her. And that was enough. The world she tried to control was slipping through her fingers. And I was finally free of the burden I once carried silently. The office door clicked shut behind her. She stood there, posture rigid at first, then trembling, eyes wide as if seeing me for the first time. "You?" she whispered, voice breaking. "Yes," I said quietly. "It's me." Her gaze darted around the empty room. I don't understand. The board, the investments, the lawsuits, it's all under my control," I interrupted. "Everything you see falling?" "I didn't touch a thing directly. I simply stopped protecting you." She staggered back a step, hands clutching the edge of the desk. Why would you do this?" "Because I stopped giving myself away," I said. "I stopped being invisible, helpless, silent." Her lips trembled. I never realized. I thought that I was weak?" I asked. "That I couldn't do anything?" I thought you were gone, broken," she admitted, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I thought I was safe and I underestimated everything." I leaned back, my expression calm. "You never underestimated me, not really. You underestimated what would happen when I stopped sacrificing myself." Her voice cracked. I'm sorry. Truly. Sorry?" I echoed. "For what? For losing control? For finally understanding that your choices have consequences?" She dropped into a chair, burying her face in her hands. I never meant. I didn't think it would. I wasn't thinking." "You weren't thinking about me," I said softly. "About what I gave up. About the sacrifices I made so you could climb higher. And now you see the result of ignoring the foundation." She looked up, eyes red and swollen. I didn't see it. I didn't see you. I didn't see us. I just, ambition, power. I thought I needed to leave the weak parts behind." "Those weak parts were me," I said. "And you left me behind long before this moment." She gasped, tears flowing freely now. "I never wanted to hurt you. I thought I loved you." I shook my head. "Love isn't measured in control, power, or neglect. I loved you enough to sacrifice, enough to stay silent. But love doesn't survive when it's one-sided." Her voice broke into a whisper. I lost you, didn't I?" "Yes," I said. "You lost me when you stopped seeing me as a person, not a shadow. You lost me when you put your empire above our life together. And I didn't destroy you out of hate. I simply stopped destroying myself." She fell silent, staring at her hands. I begged. "I should have." "You should have listened," I said. But listening alone isn't enough. You needed to see. And now you see. Her lips trembled. I'm terrified. I don't know what to do. Everything I built, everything I counted on, it's slipping. Good, I said softly. Fear teaches better than words. The world doesn't pause because of your mistakes. I need you, please, can we? No, I said firmly. I won't step in. I won't save what you refuse to nurture. This isn't revenge. It's consequence. And it's yours to face. She gasped, voice barely audible. You're not angry? I am not angry, I said. Anger is noise. Silence is louder. The silence of inaction, of letting reality fall as it must, teaches more than yelling ever could. Tears streamed down her face. I understand now. I see everything. I'm sorry for all of it. For ignoring you, for thinking you were weak. Yes, I said. And that's enough. Not for forgiveness. Not for restoration. But enough for clarity. You finally understand the cost of choices, of neglect, of arrogance. And that is your lesson. She sank to the floor, shoulders shaking. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to make it right. You can't, I said. The right thing isn't in your hands anymore. I stopped giving it to you. You have the pieces you built. Face them. Learn, survive, or fall. That's your path, not mine. Her voice whispered broken. I failed you. No, I said softly. You failed yourself. And now, at last, you see what happens when the foundation is ignored. I stood, calm, silent. The lesson wasn't delivered with anger or vindictiveness. It was delivered by absence, by choice, by quiet truth. I turned toward the door. She didn't move. She cried, whispered apologies that would never reach me again. I left. Silence followed me into the corridor. Her sobs faded behind me. And for the first time, I felt nothing but the clarity of finally standing free, untouched by her collapse, yet witnessing it fully. The headlines came first, flashing across my phone screen. CEO's empire crumbles overnight. Investors panic as major company falters. Scandal, mismanagement, collapse. I didn't celebrate. I didn't smile. Not because I feared guilt, but because this wasn't about victory anymore. Looks like it's finally over, I muttered to myself, swirling the coffee in my mug. My phone rang. Unknown number. I ignored it. Another headline notification popped up. Assistant vanishes amid chaos. I leaned back, letting the words sink. I thought about calling my old friend, the one who warned me about becoming cruel. But I didn't. Not yet. Silence was enough. Silence had always been more powerful than any speech, any confrontation, any public declaration. Later, a reporter from a major media outlet called. Can we get a statement? Are you celebrating this collapse? The voice asked, sharp and eager. I have nothing to say, I replied evenly. I won't speak. Don't you feel vindicated? No, I said calmly. I don't measure life in revenge. I measure it in what I've regained. And I have regained myself. The line went silent. I hung up before they could press further. I walked to the balcony, looking down at the city lights. The chaos unfolded below in financial reports, tweets, and viral articles. The world was watching her fall. But I wasn't. I didn't need the validation of the crowd, the satisfaction of public acknowledgement. That stage belonged to her, not me. I remembered the nights when I stayed up helping her plans, sacrificing my own dreams. The instant noodles, the whispered promises, the small gestures no one noticed. I remembered how I used to tie my worth to her success. And now the scale had tipped, not through anger, not through destruction, but through deliberate restraint. A colleague sent me a message. Do you want a press release? People are curious. They want to know the mastermind behind the collapse. I typed back simply, no. Let it speak for itself. I have nothing to add. I poured another cup of coffee, quiet in the apartment, the city humming below. I wasn't celebrating. I wasn't gleeful. I wasn't even relieved. I was calm. Later my phone buzzed again. Her number. I didn't answer. I knew what she would say. Panic, tears, pleading for explanations. She would ask if I had orchestrated it, if I had finally taken control, if I had destroyed everything she built. I didn't need to hear her voice to understand her fear. It was written in every article, every lawsuit, every disappearing assistant. Instead, I opened the window and let the night air fill the room. Cool, steady, real. I felt the weight lift off my chest, the burden of resentment, of silent rage, of dreams deferred. I realized revenge never healed me. It never would. What healed me was reclaiming myself. My time, my choices, my identity. No longer the shadow behind someone else's ambition. No longer the invisible man at someone else's table. I sat down at the desk, running my hands over papers I had once signed, documents I had once feared to challenge. Now they reminded me of lessons learned, boundaries set, and dignity regained. A message from my old friend appeared: "You're becoming a legend. But don't lose your soul." I typed back, "I'm not. I'm just finally me." The city roared below, but I didn't. I didn't cheer, I didn't murmur, I didn't crave acknowledgement. I sipped my coffee, calm, breathing in the night. I thought about what I had once defined as success: money, status, control over others, and I laughed softly at how small it seemed now. True power wasn't crushing someone else, it was surviving with your self-respect intact. Later, another headline popped up: "Company files for bankruptcy, CEO left in shock." I didn't open the article. I didn't need to. I knew. The collapse had happened, and it wasn't my doing. I had simply stepped back, removed my influence, and let consequences unfold. I closed my eyes, remembering the long nights I had spent trying to hold the pieces together, the silent sacrifices I had made for someone who didn't see me. Those days were gone. And in their place? A quiet freedom. A sense of completeness. Not joy, not victory, not revenge, but peace. I looked at the clock. Midnight. The city glittered below, indifferent. I didn't need applause, commentary, or recognition. The only approval that mattered was my own. I set the phone aside, the coffee now cold. I wasn't alone, exactly, but I was untethered from expectations, from her, from validation. I whispered to myself, "I am enough." And for the first time in years I believed it. The night remained silent. I remained calm. And the fall, her fall, continued below, untethered from my emotions, untethered from my involvement. I leaned back, closed my eyes, and let myself simply exist. Free.